been thinking about my favourite coffee shop. I had decided that I was leaving my partner, I was selling my business for myself and with myself. First name on my baby name list was Scout.
Hey everyone, my name is Amanda Buckingham. Welcome to our WAI CHAT. WAI CHAT is about sharing. It's about talking with our influencers and other stylists who live in New Zealand and all over the world actually, and just gaining some ideas, and especially at this time where we're all wanting to sort of pick each other's brains and get some help and some inspiration. So I would like to welcome Miss Annabel to our chat today. Annabel is from Scout in Wellington. Now Scout is an award-winning Sustainable Salon of the Year 2 times over, my dear.
Nice, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Yeah.
Something to be very, very proud of. I'm proud of Annabel. I've watched her go on this journey for a wee while. I was very lucky for quite a few years to be able to come and visit her gorgeous wee salon off Gusney Street. Correct?
Yep.
Right. In the heart of Wellington, which is a pretty cool place to be. So, Annabel, how are you?
I'm good. Traversing this very strange time. Just sort of seeing where it takes us really at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think 4 weeks has gone fast?
Yeah. I think the first 2 weeks went really slowly. And the last couple of weeks have gone pretty quick. I'm really lucky. I live in a little seaside town called Waikakariki, which is about 35 minutes up from Wellington. And so I have a big park and a beach and all those sorts of things, sort of about 5 minutes walk from my house. So
you got a nice bubble.
Yeah, I've got a really great bubble.
Annabel, who's in your bubble?
I have my partner Andy, my toddler, he's 3.5, Juno, and our really good cat called Pippi. And that's us.
And it's pretty awesome actually having the kids around in your bubble. Well, sometimes not. But I know I've really enjoyed homeschooling Hazel actually. It's been quite cool. Like I don't think I've ever really engaged properly in her homework.
Yeah.
So that's been quite nice in our bubble.
Yeah, it's an interesting time for learning, eh? I've been playing podcasts to Juno. There's this really great one about an Australian tree frog that does sort of science discovery, and I've been learning heaps. It's been amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Tell me a little bit about Scout. I would love to hear your kind of business, like how you run Scout at the moment. What led you to, the name? Because I think I watched you, you had put a post up and you had a teddy bear. And he goes,
oh, it's my ferret, my Scout ferret.
Yeah, so I'd love to hear a bit more about Scout and your ferret, and also how you came up with the name actually.
Okay. So Scout has been open for 7 years in July, which has gone really, really fast. Scout began because I had been working and managing salons around Wellington for quite some time. And I got to a point where I just wanted to have faith in myself that I could do it for myself and with myself, So everything kind of happened quite serendipitously, which it often does when it's the right move. And I found a really great space on a little side street, and it turned out that the landlord was the father of a guy I used to hang out with when I was a teenager, a bit younger. So that sort of fell together really easily. And Scout, how the name came about, my first name on my baby name list was Scout.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I've always loved it. From To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yes.
So, yeah, it was kind of obvious that it was like, oh yeah, it's going to be Scout because it's my first baby.
Yeah, cool.
And so, yeah, all of the planning kind of fell into place pretty quickly. I think it even happened over about 4 weeks. I had quit my last job and knew that I needed a change, and yeah, it all just kind of fell into place. And I was doing hair from home, and I was going to people's houses and doing hair, and I had this whole period of time where I just had a lot of really gorgeous contact with people. It was really nice. And then, yeah, Scout kind of got formed over those 4 weeks, and the ferret was there's a woman in Wellington called Rico Woodford Robinson, who does these beautiful paintings of animals. And my grandmother had passed away, and I had inherited a little bit of money from her, and I had decided that I wanted to spend a bit of money getting this painting done. And so I sat down with her, and the reason it's a ferret was because the ferret is my power animal.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've been referred to as being quite ferrety because I am pretty full on and quite I'm quite ferrety with my approach to things sometimes. I get tenacious, and yeah, so it fits for me.
Yeah. Do you know what the most awesome thing about that is? That you know yourself.
Yeah.
You know, some people just don't understand themselves, but that's awesome. Now, your business model is something I'm very passionate about. You have a huge focus on sustainability, and kudos for your, for being recognised for that. So for me, Han, I want to sort of explore, the opportunity for others. So I guess you and I talked a little bit about how we have seen our earth start to replenish it in this time. There's dolphins swimming, the waters in Venice are now blue, they're clear. Like, there's so many cool things that have come from this.
Turtles, man. All of a sudden the turtles have had some space, eh? It's amazing.
Yeah. And, I guess best to say the outcome from that is less pollution, right? And less detriment on our environment. So, Annabel, I'm sure that there's a lot of salons and stylists out there that have thought about it or trying to make that change, or trying to make little changes. So was it something that you always were conscious of, or what was the light bulb moment for you when you thought, right, this is the model, this is what I want to strive for?
It was more of a slow boiler because I'd come from a salon that was focused on sustainability, or starting to be, because this is 7-8 years ago. So they were sort of implementing small steps, and it was we were carrying a product range that was conscious, so that was bringing sustainability into our focus. And so that sort of started it off. And then when I opened Scout, it was just it felt like the right and obvious thing to do, to be focusing on caring for the planet. And then over time, just, I don't know, I think having Juno really cranked everything up. Andy's really always been incredibly focused on sustainability. Like he from when I first met him, was bringing ideas into my realm that I hadn't really even thought of before, and so I think it was a bit of a combination. It was a combination of, last Salon, Andy's knowledge, and then getting a bit of a chance to do that. And then 2.5 years down the track of having Scout and doing it, maybe just kind of ground level sustainability, and then I had Juno, and it just went, oh, actually, I need to crank this up because I need to make change because it's his future, So I feel like I was lucky that I had such a natural progression and some really good influences,
And I think, would you agree that it's kind of like a flow-on effect, right? It's like when you start exercising.
Yeah.
You start to see results. It takes a few weeks, and for a start, you're like, oh, this is really hard. And then all of a sudden you start to see those wee changes, and then it makes you think, oh, well, I don't want to kind of go back to that. So I'm just going to do a little bit more each day. And before you know it, you really start involving yourself in better processes, or better products, or better food, or whatever it may be. So
we also, where we live and where the salon is, I feel like it was kind of easy from the point of view that most of our clients were right there with us and they had really awesome ideas. And so, you know, I would go, oh, okay, I want to start focusing on, you know, our rubbish, or I want to start focusing on, you know, like I'd always have one thing that I was focusing on at that time. And sometimes they would take me 2 days to figure out, and other things would take me 6 weeks to figure out, you know, but I always had this captive audience of amazing clients that had great ideas. And so we'd end up having brainstorms whilst doing a color, you know, like it was awesome. And I've got one client in particular that had a sustainable business. She had a sustainable fashion label before sustainability was really even considered, you know, like he was a really good source of information. And yeah, I feel like where we're placed, it was really easy.
Yeah, cool.
It didn't feel like a struggle. It felt like a fun journey to be on, you know?
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think one point I just took from you then is focusing on one thing at a time. Like I often get asked from salons, I don't know where to start, you know, and I'm like, don't overthink it. Like I know it can feel like, or you think that you have to change your lifestyle, your diet, your cleaning products, your everything, but actually just choose one thing and get used to that and then introduce something else.
Yeah, and often that one thing will lead to something else.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing with anything we do. It's like if we look at the entirety of it, it's too big and it's too hard. And if we just go, actually, you know, for the next X amount of months, I just want to figure out our rubbish, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Really
So saying
easy.
that, babe, what would you say, what are 3 things that you could recommend to a salon or a stylist who would like to start this journey of being more conscious or having more of an ethical kind of practice? What are 3 things that you would encourage them to start with?
I think the best place to start is to think about what's coming into your space, because then naturally everything that's going out of it is way more considered and way more likely to not have a negative effect. You know, it's like if you figure out what product range you use and you look at what's coming in, if you look at the things that you're buying as far as, you know, your cleaning products and things like that, then that will straight away have less of an effect. And if you look at how you guys are getting your lunch brought into the salon, you know, like if you look at, and if you stop and look at everything that's coming in as a, you know, moment. So like, it's like right now, okay, I'm going to look at my products, you know, if you look at what's coming in, then what's going out just instantly, you know, changes. Like the intention of what it is that's going out changes. The way that the clients feel about what's going out changes, you know, like everything does as soon as you start looking at what's arriving in your space.
Yeah, absolutely. I know my girls at our salon, when we first started to really concentrate on the reusability side of our business and which impacts on less waste, right? And you're right, what comes in, what's going out.
Yeah.
We couldn't believe that we almost didn't need our commercial wheelie bin picked up for general rubbish because we didn't have any. We just, you know, we chose to not have rubbish bags in our bin for a start, just wash it out. And then, you know, how could we get rid of our hair? How can we minimize, as you know, foil? How do we, what cleaning products do we use? You know, we can just reuse those bottles and make our own solutions. Or actually, that's something I wanted to sort of ask you is what products you recommend, not so much for shampoos and things like that, but just the differences in what you've chosen to use in the salon. Like for us, we do make a lot of our own solutions. We use a lot of vinegar and baking soda.
Yes, like we don't buy cleaning products. I mean, we use detergent, washing dishes and stuff like that. So everything we do, you know, the stuff that we do have to buy, we do eco store, and we do it refill.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because we have Common Sense Organics and we have Bin In really handy to us, and those are both really, you know, make it easy. But yeah, everything else we make it. So we make mirror cleaner, we make, we were making hand sanitizer like you guys were making.
Yeah.
So we were getting isopropyl. We do a lot of essential oils, heaps of tea tree. I love orange, so we're doing lots of orange. So we were doing that, and we were only doing one barbicide soak at the end of the day. So we were using that for our combs. Yeah, I mean, anything that we could use a refill product and a refill natural product, we were doing that instead.
Yeah, cool. We're the same. Actually, I'd love to put some links up afterwards as well. I'd love your window cleaner recipe, if you wouldn't mind. I'll get that written up for everyone. And also, you've been in. But one place I wanted to plug actually is our Southern Salon supplies, which is available all throughout New Zealand, who do now stock Eco Store and refillable for.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Not refillable, wrong word. Bulk, which we can refill anyway. So I was really excited about that. I've really watched Jamie actually from Southern Salon Supplies look at the business on a more of an ethical and sustainable level and offer those things. So I was so excited when she brought in Eco Store.
That's so good, because I have been laughed at for nearly a good couple of years now, leaving the salon supplies places, just holding my stuff because I didn't want a bag. And every time they'd be like, oh, here she is, she doesn't want a bag. And I'm like, you're supposed to be backing me on this.
Yeah. So that's available. So I'll put that link up for everyone as well, because it's nice to also see that our industry is supporting more natural products as far as sanitisation, and not so much sanitisation, but general cleaning.
And if we could get refill barbicide. I really want refill barbicide. That would be so good.
Yeah. Well, let me
now coming back into the salons post when we hit 2.
Yes.
2. I mean, that was the thing. As soon as we started having to think about that all a little bit more and a little bit differently, then we started doing barbicide and chewing through Dettol and stuff that was, big soaking cleansers,
So I think it's awesome to be able to share the different alternatives that we can now get. And of course, Southern Salon Supplies especially do stock a lot of things that we need every day. So it's great to combine those orders so that we're not also doing lots of different shipping,
totally.
And transportation costs too. So yeah.
Awesome.
So the other thing I get asked a lot, and you will be able to help me with this, Annabel, is there seems to be a stigma around if we choose more natural or sustainable products or organic, that it is expensive. So I've had a lot of people sort of say to me, it's too dear. I'm like, well, actually, I'll ask you, but I personally think that it's a better choice as far as the ingredients that you're using and where that's sourced, fair trade, and looking at the manufacturing side of the product. But also what we've just talked about, this is the refill and the reusability of something can often outweigh the cost. What would you say to people that have that fear that it is expensive to change to be more sustainable?
I mean, again, going back to what I said before about where we were based, I felt like as far as the stigma stuff goes, like we didn't really face that too much being based in Wellington and where we were based in Wellington. I felt like we had a lot of clients that were doing the same thing at home, so they sort of understood. I feel like it's like that uptake thing, it's like if we all band together and we get the percentage of salons that are being sustainable and conscious to a certain point, then we hit that percentage where everything tips over and it does sort of become more normal and everything drops in price, and you sort of, like, it's like buying an electric car, it's like, I feel like, yes, we did pay a little bit more, but to me the reasoning was there. We felt like we put our prices up a tiny little bit. I think we put them up by $2 to cover some of the extras that we were having to pay for or having to think about. And then, like you say, our costs dropped in certain things, but they did go up in other things. But it balanced itself out, and I felt like the clients were happier for it. They understood. They wanted to be doing it. And if we hit that tipping point of uptake, then everything does drop in price. So it becomes more achievable the more people.
Yeah, you're right. So the more volume, the more these things become more accessible.
Yeah, and I feel like we're hitting that point now anyway. I feel like there's been a core group of us that have gone, oh yeah, well, I don't have the choice. I need to do this for our future.
Yeah.
And so we've been willing to take a hit, maybe, I
Yeah.
suppose you could, for the
And
greater good.
I think too that a lot of the products that are much more concentrated and more quality driven last a lot longer. You know, we tell our clients this with our shampoos and conditioners and take home products. You only need a little bit. You only need to use it this way. I know for myself and my family, even if I just don't think about this our salons for a second, because that product is such value to us, whether it is ethically or cost, you're very aware of how much you need. You know, often we overuse and we put way too much cleaner in things. We actually don't need to. Oh.
Much they would be using based on how much they would be using if they knew that they'd spent, nearly twice as much for it. But like you say as well, it's like we talk to our clients a lot about the fact that one of the key elements of our product range is that because it is consciously produced, part of that sustainability is making something more concentrated so that they have to ship less,
Yeah.
And so that's, in that respect, it's like the impact is diminished by making something more concentrated,
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how did you prepare Scout for lockdown? Did you go into a frenzy, or did you did you think about it sensibly?
Again, Andy is this really, sometimes it's really awesome and other times it's really not. He's really up to date with what's happening and he really watches what's happening. And he was quite early on going, yeah, this isn't looking good, babe. I think we're going to, and we also really luckily have two clients that are epidemiologists for public health.
Wow.
And so back in January, I had a really big conversation with one of them who was saying, hey, come April, stuff's going to be pretty full on. And I had said, oh, it's just like the flu. And she was like, yeah, no. And she talked me through the whole thing. And that was back in January.
Wow.
And I started going, oh, okay. So we, as a salon, started talking about it back then. And we started putting times aside in our books. We were starting to put aside sort of 2-3 hour gaps every 2 weeks with each staff member to try to absorb some of the impact of us being sick. Things like that, because I didn't obviously realize the magnitude of everything. But yeah, so, and then like lots of other salons, we started implementing hand sanitizer being available. We just sort of kept moving with what was happening, and actually Mars and I both had to be off sick because I had a cold. Mars had a really bad cold as well, and I had been on the phone to that epidemiologist client, and she had pretty much said, I need you to contact all your clients over 60 and not let them come in. I need you to not be at work if you're unwell. Like, she really let us know what it was that we had to do. And so, yeah, that week before we went into 3 and had to close, I wasn't really there that much anyway. And we were starting to realize what had to happen. And I was just, getting
Doing
ready.
the do. Yeah. And now, that seems a long time ago, but I guess it's gone fast. And today, of course, we find out the facts. We've obviously had some great information from the government and from our NZARH about what the expectations are coming out of level 4 into level 3. It will be nice to have that confirmed today. And obviously we, because of the nature of what we do, we potentially can't open or can't look after our clients till level 2. But I think it has given us some time to plan for that. So what some things you guys are up to, Annabel, like going forward? Are you starting to rebook clients? Are you looking at rosters for the team?
We've kind of gone the other way, actually. Like, I'm a massive doer. I like to be doing something so that I can feel like I'm in control. And I had a bit of a meltdown 10 days in because I realized that I didn't have any control over what was happening, because we initially just went about rebooking everybody. Like we book our clients 2 to 3 appointments in advance generally. So we were starting to get booked up till kind of September. And so when we first closed, we just decided that each week we would pick up that week, and each stylist would look after or talk to each of their all of their clients, and we would move them. So we kind of did that for 2 weeks, and then we realized that we wouldn't be able to open when we got back to 3, and that 3 could last for a long time. At which point we had a Zoom meeting and all went, actually, we just need to freeze the bookings where they are.
Yeah.
Which was also really good, because it gave me a little bit of time to go, actually, I can't do a lot right at the moment, so maybe this is the perfect time for me to just have a bit of space and a bit of not trying to overthink it.
Good idea.
Good. I've been keeping an eye on like some of the professional hairdressing Facebook pages, which is really good from an information point of view. You kind of get to pick and choose what you want to dive into with threads, and NZARH have got some really awesome tips and resources. I think we have decided that once we figure out, or once we actually get a date that we're working towards with level 2, we'll prioritize the clients that we know are going to be really, really stretched for their hair. The ones that have waited the longest, the ones that we know have colour services that will be really impacted. And then also the clients that have bought vouchers, because we've had heaps and heaps of clients buy vouchers.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that's a really good way, a great thing to share, is the opportunity for our clients to buy vouchers. So for salons out there that potentially don't have the opportunity to do online product sales or that type of thing, just to put your hand up and be able to tell your clientele or your community, your town, that you do offer those vouchers, because we are all needing to look at any revenue that we can to get us through.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky one with vouchers, because at the time I was like, oh, awesome, it'll keep cash flow coming in. But then it made me also realize that was a liability against my books. But it was just kind of figuring out what to do with that money, for fear that, I don't know, for fear of spending money that's not yours until...
Absolutely. And like you say, we don't know when that door can open fully, but I think that shows huge loyalty for you and your staff and your salon, that people are supporting you. And I think, my biggest goal right now is supporting local. Like, I think it's so much, even more so now, we need to look after one another and shop locally.
Clients have been contacting us saying, oh my God, I've been thinking about the key businesses that I really rely on, and you were first on my list, and it's awesome. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking about my favorite coffee shop. And
me too.
I've been paying, giving them money for vouchers, because I miss them so much.
Me too. I would so kill for a latte.
I just want to sit in a cafe with a magazine and have a coffee.
Yeah.
I don't want to be alone.
I know. We will be so grateful for those opportunities. It won't be just like, oh, just go and get a coffee. Be like, oh, I'm going to get a coffee.
Totally.
Oh, definitely. It's been great to look at the things that you're grateful for, eh?
Yeah.
So without coffee, how have you stayed focused?
I mean, it's trying to get me to not be focused. That's the hard part. Like, I'm pretty
driven
brain constantly. And it was actually getting me to shut off. That was the problem.
Yeah. How did you shut off, hun? For people that like us.
I started running on the first day of lockdown. My partner's been running for years, and I stopped running when I got pregnant. So that was, nearly 4.5 years ago. I started running. So that's been good. I've been running. We've been intermittent fasting. So we're not eating until 12 o'clock. We're not eating after 8.
Yeah, cool.
We've just been trying to look after ourselves. I've been doing lots of beach walks, podcasts. There's a new Brené Brown podcast, and she interviewed Glennon Doyle. I think it was her second one. That was amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Can we share that one?
Oh, definitely. It's the Untamed. I will send you a link.
That would be awesome. I'll pop it up.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of self-discovery and a lot of, trying to care for myself.
Did you, something I struggled with, and I'm sure a lot of us have, for a start, I felt guilty that I wasn't doing stuff. You know, I was like, far out, I should be, like, this is shit, I should be doing more. And I had to actually tell myself it's okay. Like, actually, the best thing I could do was to stop doing this, you know, and actually just, if I only achieve, in fact, our businesses, each day, the only thing that we have to do is we write down 3 things that we want to achieve for that day. That's it. And that's all we have to do. Now, that could be that I needed to get to chapter 7 of my book. It could be that I needed to interview Annabel, you know, whatever it is. As long as I got those 3 things done, they needed to be a little bit important to my business. You know, I couldn't just be bake my cake and use, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But, and mentally, because I was so frantic at trying to do 15 things because I thought that's what I had to do, I'm so much clearer now with just 3 things.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay.
Yeah. Those first, honestly, Monday was the announcement. Tuesday, I got up really, really early and went up into the salon and emptied everything into the car, which felt weird and cleansing and actually somewhat fantastic. And then I came back and I started going, okay, we're going to sell products online. We're going to do this, we do that. We're going to meet our clients, And I was doing. And I still didn't know what the story was with the subsidy. And I was having lots of conversations with my accountant and people like that, trying to figure out what was happening with that. And then, I think about maybe 4 days in, I hit a massive wall and had a somewhat mega 3-day meltdown, where I had decided that I was leaving my partner, I was selling my business, I was moving to da-da-da, and I was just, everything was changing. And I went, oh, hold on. And I rang one of my clients who's a clinical psychologist, but also a really good friend of mine. And I said to her, Kate, I think this is what's happening. Like, I think I just need to trust my gut. And she's like, yeah, you just need to hold on to everything super lightly at the moment, man. Like, you just need to chill.
Chill out.
Chill. Not do anything. Like, okay. So her thing recently has just been like, don't do anything.
Yeah.
Just sit on stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like percolate.
Yeah.
Let stuff kind of just form and try not to do anything fast. And it's been awesome.
So I know that you have, well, for a wee while now, stopped the old vino. You didn't reach for the bottle?
Yeah, no.
Good girl.
Somebody dropped off a couple of beers and I actually gave them away.
Did you?
Yeah, it was weird. I had a moment where I went, so we haven't been drinking for going on 6 years.
Yeah.
6 years in August. And I have a glass of wine here or there if I feel like it. I'm definitely the sort of person that if you tell me I can't do something, I want to do it. So I have if I feel like a drink, I'm going to have a drink.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You didn't reach the bottle.
A couple of glasses of wine at the awards when we won Sustainable Salon, you know, like every now and then I have a drink. But I just...
Good girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say I've sunk a few over the last month.
There's been moments I've wanted to, especially
But it's actually been nice. But in saying that, having a glass of wine and making a beautiful dinner and giving yourself time to do that has been really beautiful as well. You know?
Yeah.
Sitting at the dinner table and actually eating together as a family. I've so enjoyed that.
It's been amazing. Juno's been eating more. I love cooking. I trained as a chef before I started hairdressing. So I've been cooking and baking and making sourdough, and we did sourdough hot cross buns, and I did sourdough pancakes, and we've been eating so well. It's been so good.
I'm just going to press a button. Sorry, my dear. So didn't know that about your culinary skills. So
a long time ago, Amanda. A long time ago.
bear with me. What's your favourite recipe to go to at the moment? What are you kind of craving that you're making? What have you enjoyed making?
What have I enjoyed making? I made a really amazing gingerbread loaf the other day. That was incredible. It was really moist. I'll send you the recipe for that. It was an L Brown one, so it's very Wellington.
I would love that. We can share that too. Yum.
Yeah, super yummy. Lots of sugar, really good.
Lots of sugar.